The Nintendo Switch has done surprisingly well. I mean, not surprisingly, it's only done surprisingly well to the critics. Most of us who were following Nintendo's reveal and follow-up to the Switch knew that compared to the Wii U, the Switch had a much better chance. Just none of us ever thought it would ever come close to matching the sales of both the PS4 and the Xbox One. The fact that every store everywhere in the US is sold out of Switches says a lot, I think. And I always think it's rather lame whenever a news site posts an article about GameStop, Best Buy, or some other place getting restocked with Switches. Within a couple of weeks though, Nintendo is going to be releasing what I think is going to be one of their best sellers for the Switch. What would that game be? And what are the odds of it selling? The only way to find that out is to keep watching. It's time to go beyond the game. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom battle was a tricky one to predict. Rumors for it leaked before the game was actually revealed in as early as November 2016. And for it being so far-fetched, it seemed to be very legit, unlike these bogus screenshots taken from the 3DS version of Smash Bros. When it was revealed at Ubisoft E3, some of us were surprised and some of us weren't. But is this game going to be at all worth the time and money? Let's see. Now, from what I gather about the early development of the game, 3 years ago, back in 2014, Nintendo had asked Ubisoft to make a spin-off game using their IP and mascot, Mario. Then they started to come up with ideas about what kind of game they wanted to make until they came up with an idea that involved Mario and the Rabbids. From that point, they only had 3 weeks to make the prototype to present to Nintendo and gaming legend Shigeru Miyamoto. They not only had to create the prototype from scratch, but they also had to create Mario and Luigi from scratch, and they are not easy characters to draw. When Shigeru Miyamoto saw the prototype, which was presented to him by the game director, Davide Soliani, he was impressed, especially with the fact that they created Mario and Luigi from scratch and the fact that the game was unlike anything he had ever seen before. Nintendo could see Ubisoft's dedication to this project, so they gave it the green light. Now the game has been developed by Ubisoft Paris and Ubisoft Milan, the same branches of Ubisoft who have developed most of the Just Dance games, using Ubisoft's Snowdrop engine, which is a fairly new engine used by Ubisoft. Art director Mauro Perini noted that it was important to capture the atmosphere of Nintendo games. However, they also wanted to combine the crazier elements of the Rabbids universe with existing components of Mario. Producer Xavier Manzanares wanted the game to offer lots of content so the game could be played in short sessions. They felt this format was ideal for the Switch with its hybrid capabilities to be able to be played at home and on the go. Ubisoft enlisted British video game composer Grant Kirkhope, who's actually composed the music for a couple of Nintendo games such as Donkey Kong 64 from 1999 and Star Fox Adventures from 2002, to compose the music for Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and from what I've heard of the game's original soundtrack so far, it's pretty impressive. Now Shigeru Miyamoto had only one condition for game director Davide Soliani, and that was that he didn't make a jump game or a platformer. He wanted him to make a fresh, new game unlike any other Mario game. Now what exactly is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle? The best way I would describe it is that it's a strategy game, whereas the producer of the game, Xavier Manzanares, put it, a tactical adventure with tons of side content you can unlock later on. Now when I say it's a strategy game, I do mean it. Each level in the game is set up like a battlefield, and there are different objectives you have to complete in order to defeat the level. For example, one object is to make it to a certain point in the battlefield, while another is defeating all the enemies, and you can choose between 8 different characters. We have, of course, Mario and his twin brother Luigi, Princess Peach, who's no longer a maiden in distress, Yoshi, and a Rabbid version of each of the 4 said characters. Each character has their own unique set of abilities in the battlefield which can be used to your advantage, such as Rabbid Peach's extra shield, and then Mario's hero sight, which allows him to attack an enemy the moment it moves, even though it isn't his turn. And the game has a very lively overworld in which you travel through the levels to. There's also a battle headquarters where you can do a number of puzzles and other things, and from what I've heard, the game will also have co-op play and will take over 30 hours to beat. There are also coins to collect, like in all Mario games, that will allow you to buy better gear and better weapons, so when you get that game, you better start collecting those coins now if you want to have the best gear in the game before your friend does. Now, there's a lot packed into this game, and with an interesting story to discover in this game as well, I think this game is going to be well worth the money. Maybe. And since this game was such a surprise, and because this game came out so early in the life of the Switch, this game isn't just going to be a big seller. This game is unique, and I think everyone is going to remember this game for years. And when people, years down the road, think about the Switch when it first came out, and what kind of games it had, I think they're all going to remember Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Just like everyone remembers Super Mario RPG Legend of the 7 Stars which was released in 1996 when they think about the Super Nintendo. Whether or not Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle was a good game or not. Nintendo's really getting serious now, it seems, and they've been keeping a pretty steady flow of games, unlike with the Wii U. The number of first-party and third-party games set to release on the Switch over the remainder of the year and in 2018 is good so far. But how many surprises will Nintendo have for us along the way? Only time will tell if they're going to keep delivering this good quality for the remainder of the Switch's lifespan. Speaking of, if you want to hear why Metroid is so important, check out Commonwealth Realm's video on why Metroid is so important. To the disappointment of a lot of people though, Nintendo is still selling and making games for the 3DS. And with the release of the new Nintendo 2DS XL, I don't think the 3DS is going to end anytime soon. But with the release of games like Miitopia, Pokemon, and Metroid Samus Returns, the Switch is going to have to work really hard to keep from falling under the shadow of the 3DS. Luckily though, Nintendo has already promised us a Metroid Prime 4 and a main series Pokemon game for the Switch. But with no Mii games for the Switch yet, and the increasing demand for them, I think Nintendo needs to get the ball rolling. Nintendo, Zelda, and all things gaming, this is Justice to Free signing off. Have a blessed week, guys and girls, and I'll see you soon. Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to continue my 100 Things to Fix in Ocarina of Time until it gets 1,000 views. So, if you want this series to continue at all, be sure to share my video. But if you don't want it to continue, ignore everything I said then.